Greetings all! Today, we will be examining the uncommon ground-type Pokemon Hippopotas, the Hippo Pokemon, and its rare evolution Hippowdon, the Heavyweight Pokemon. Though they might look a bit cute at a young age, the members of the Hippopotas family are strong brutes that can ultimately prove to be a handful to deal with and protect against once they reach maturity.
Hippopotas have stout bodies with a small tail and forward two-toed feet, their head having a bulbous shape to it with raised black eyes on the top and a large snout adorned with two massive nostrils, a third port being located on their back. Their body coloration differs substantially between sexes, with the males having a light brown camouflage color to them, while females have a darker brown coloration. Their evolved form, Hippowdon, have a similar body form, though they now have 3 large flat toes with white nails on each foot with a ring of black hide around their ankles, and the upper part of their torso has a black shell-like cap on it with multiple ports leading into their internal sand chambers. Their faces have a large snout with bright red eyes and massive jaws filled with crushing teeth, and their torso color once again differs substantially with sex, with males having tan bodies while females have black bodies. It is widely believed that Hippopotas and Hippowdon were once adapted to life within aquatic environments in much the same way that normal hippos have today. At a time, in fact, much of the native regions were actually covered in tropical ecosystems that would have provided such an environment. However, as time went on, the streams and rivers that they lived around began to dry up, as the process of desertification eventually turned their environments into barren wastelands.
Instead of dying out or moving on, Hippopotas began to slowly evolve in order to adapt to their rapidly changing environments. As a result, they became more like the dry environment they now choose to live in, and the bodies began to use stones and eventually sand in much the same way they once used water, transforming their love for water into a distasteful relationship and completely converting them into pure ground types in the process. It is unknown whether or not Hippopotas, or even Hippowdon, were once classifiable as water-type Pokemon based on fossil evidence alone, but it is clear that they have come to despise the otherwise precious liquid and only ever come to it when they are in desperate need of a drink.
While Hippopotas are generally benign and don't try to make themselves a problem intentionally, Hippowdon are extremely quick to anger and tend to be incredibly vicious if provoked, and it can be honestly said that provoking one in the wild is equivalent to signing a death warrant. This can make them a danger to approach in many cases and even difficult for trainers to handle, so raising them from a young age is usually best to get them used to people. This is not always an easy affair though, as their bodies act as a storage unit for sand, and merely breathing can potentially generate sandstorms, resulting in them normally having access to sand streamers their only base ability, though those with the power to use sand to boost their own morale and bring out their best fighting spirit can also have Sand Force as a hidden ability. And looking at their stats, with Hippowdon, it can easily be noted that they do not have much to offer in the way of special powers and are quite slow on account of their heavy weight, so their base special attack, special defense, and speed stats are all below average for a fully evolved ground-type Pokemon. On the other hand though, they have a lot of bulk to them, both in terms of physical defenses and stamina, and can hit fairly hard with physical attacks, so the base HP, attack, and defense stats are all above average for a fully evolved Pokemon of their type, making them potent physical fighters that can brawl with the best and readily make a name for themselves. Hippopotas store large quantities of sand within their bodies and then expel it all over themselves as a way of warding off germs. This is done because the loss of waterproof skin has made it easy for water and therefore germs to enter their bodies, making such an artificial guard necessary. As noted already, this feature ties directly into their only base ability, Sandstream, as they can instantly generate dangerous sandstorms in almost any environment. In addition, it also allows Hippopotas to move through sand at an exceptional rate by continuously inhaling and expelling sand in their path through their nostrils, digging with their mouth open as they swallow sand and prey alike in that way. This power does come with one major problem, however. Its effectiveness is almost completely negated if Hippopotas get wet. Excess water can cause the particles of sand in and around their bodies to clump together, potentially clogging up their internal systems and killing them from massive internal hemorrhaging. As a result, Hippopotas live exclusively within deserts and mountainous environments where water is scarce and only ever rely on the substance when they absolutely need it to survive, additionally burying themselves in the sand to avoid the frigid night temperatures of the deserts they occupy. While they might not enjoy living in wetter environments, Hippopotas have yet to fully adapt to a desert lifestyle and still prey on whatever plant material they can find for sustenance. While Hippopotas usually have to keep their eyes closed when using their sand-based attacks, Hippowdon are gifted in that their eye lenses are coated in a special film that naturally repels sand grains, ensuring perfect eyesight even in blistering sandstorms. Besides their capacity to whip up said sandstorms, Hippowdon also possess an incredibly dangerous bite that is more than fierce aside from their ability to utilize the Fire Fang, Ice Fang, and Thunder Fang attacks. With mouths that stretch almost 7 feet across, these creatures have the room to completely enclose most other Pokemon within their mouths. While not carnivorous by nature, Hippowdon are not shy about using their powerful crunch attack to reduce opponents to a mush of broken bones and flesh.
To put it into perspective, a Hippowdon's crunch attack is strong enough to crush an entire automobile into scrap metal and can thus be of great use in breaking armor.
In addition, they possess no fangs and may be vulnerable to breaking under pressure. This essentially means that Hippowdon can attack and bite opponents with the carefree nature of a slackoth. Hippowdon themselves seem to recognize this as well, as they often leave their mouths agape as both a sign of their strength and a warning to anyone foolish enough to think that they can easily handle their raw power. In regards to comprehending Hippowdon though, the most important thing that needs to be understood is that their power to control sand goes far, far beyond what is possible with Hippopotas. The internal chambers and tubes used for storing and releasing sand are larger within Hippowdon and possess thicker walls, allowing for more abrasive contact and thus the transfer of much greater volumes of sand. This in turn gives Hippowdon the ability to blast sand out of their bodies at a much faster rate when compared to Hippopotas, giving them the power to directly utilize their base ability to generate massive sand tomb attacks capable of containing beasts much larger than themselves, even to the point where the attack literally generates a giant sand devil.
The towering cyclone of sand still might not be incredibly powerful, but the fact that it effectively traps anything that gets in it means that Hippowdon can walk up to others at their leisure and crush the opposition with their jaws without having to worry about moving all that fast.
This also makes Wild Hippowdon extremely dangerous, as it will not let up on a sand tomb attack until the victim stops moving, especially if they have been sent into a violent rage. By the time this happens, however, the victims have usually already been reduced to a pile of bone fragments and ripped flesh. However, it is noted that these creatures are not completely unstoppable, as their internal forms can get clogged if a stone is accidentally ingested or sucked into the ports on their bodies. As such, these creatures will often take care of any dwebble and similar Pokemon that are near them, as they are the only ones that can safely dislodge the stones from their position.
They might not look like the most intelligent of beasts out there, but the members of the Hippopotas family are still potent creatures that can crunch and blast away anything that gets in their path with the power of their jaws and sand. You may need to keep them on a very tight leash in order to keep them completely in check, but the raw power that these beasts can wield nonetheless can make them a severe threat to handle when in close quarters.
Just do yourself a favor and try to keep your wits about you and pay attention to your surroundings if you get caught in one of their blistering sandstorms. Otherwise, you may unwittingly walk right into their open jaws and end up in a mangled state that even the best doctors in the world might not be able to fix up.
Thank you all for watching this video. It is always a pleasure to help teach others about the world of Pokemon and the many facets of it that exist in both the world we call home and the world they call home. If you'd like, please leave a comment and subscribe and ring the bell to this channel to get regular updates on content and anything else that might be going on. You can find me and my written work on DeviantArt under the name Untitled and be informed of information and content uploads on my Twitter page and my Patreon page. Donations are always welcome. Always remember, the world of Pokemon is a vast and varied place, and there's no telling what secrets might be hiding just around the corner. So keep watch, stay vigilant, and always prepare for the unexpected. Until next time, have a wonderful rest of the day.